What's going on, guys? In the last video, we got a huge chunk of work done on the first gen 4Runner. I got it all painted. I got the motor running for the first time since I've owned the truck. I don't think this thing's ran in like 3 years, and we got it to crank over and idle for a little bit, and basically came to the conclusion that we need to get a head gasket thrown in here so we can get this old 22RE brought back to life. Additionally, in the last video, we got sound deadening thrown in the truck, got the cab all cleaned up and ready for some interior to go in there. I had mentioned that I wanted to get started on making panels for the interior. So what I started last week was getting these rear panels figured out. I made a stencil and got these cut out of an old street sign, as you can kind of see hiding in there. So the back panel of the bedside is going to be aluminum, and then we'll have a little hideaway cubby hole on either side. And then the panel moving forward where the passenger seats will be, I actually have the original panels from the truck, but as you can see, they're in pretty bad condition. So I'm going to trace these onto a new stencil, get some new panels made up for the rear, and then make some door panels as well. My idea with the door panels is I'm not going to be making that stuff out of aluminum. I'm going to make that out of Masonite, which is pretty similar to what the original panels were made of. And then I'll do like a thin layer of cloth in between. And then I went ahead and grabbed some fabric from Joannes Fabric yesterday. And this part's pretty exciting because I have a ton of people messaging me and asking me about the headliner in the 3rd Gen 4Runner. So I have redone the headliner in my 3rd Gen 4Runner with an iridescent spiderweb fabric. And basically it reflects any color that's around it. I've had a bunch of people asking me what that process looked like and how did I do that and etc. So I'm not going to be doing the headliner in the 1st Gen 4Runner because it's still in pretty good condition. But I'm going to make my door panels out of some wood and then wrap that. I just think it'll be kind of a fun little characteristic to the truck, and it'll also kind of tie it to the other 4Runner that I have been driving for the last few years. So that is my plan today. I have all of the material to start making these panels, get those cut out. I went ahead and got some rubber edging to finish these guys up, and then basically need to go through and find all of the factory mounting points so I can use plastic clips to secure these to the body. And then I'm going to use the same concept on all of this stuff. On top of the interior stuff, I got my head gasket kit in for the 22RE. So as soon as I'm done playing around with all of this easy stuff inside of the truck, I am going to start tearing down the motor and hopefully be able to get this thing torn down before the end of the weekend. And ideally, I can go and get the head machined next week and then start throwing this thing back together. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's definitely going to be a process. I've never done a head gasket nor torn into this motor at all. So I've never done a head gasket on any motor. It'll definitely be a little bit of a learning experience, but I'm looking forward to it. From all the videos I've watched and all the people I've talked to, 22RE is a great motor to learn on. And that's my plan. I've watched a couple of videos of people doing the entire process, and I'm just going to go ahead and do my best to mark every vacuum hose and every bolt that gets pulled off of the truck. That way I can confidently put all this stuff back together and have a operating motor in the end. Tons of stuff to get done in this video, so definitely stick around for the end. With all that said, I'm going to jump back in time just a little bit to the end of last week and show you guys the process that I started in the bedsides where I did some paint, and then show you guys my process on how I made those aluminum panels for the back. to start with the panels in the back of the truck, and these are the signs that I'm going to cut them out of. So I am going to drill a couple holes into these and mount them together so I can cut both panels at the exact same time. And both of these rear panels will be exactly the same cut. Everything in the back of the bed is symmetrical, so that's super helpful. I guess all of the panels on the truck are going to be symmetrical. The driver's side door and the passenger door, exactly the same. There's no bends in any of these panels, so it's super straightforward. Just have to cut the shape out and then find all of the mounting points. So that's the idea. It's super cold out here. I thought it was done snowing, but clearly it's not. So I am going to try to get these back panels finished up, and then we'll see how much further I get today. All right, that took forever. I really hate cutting these damn signs. It's just super loud. I know my neighbors hate me. It smells terrible and it shoots aluminum all over my clothes. But we got them cut, and bolting them together to do two at once was 1000% the move. I never even test fitted this side of the truck, and it fits absolutely perfect. Obviously, there's a little bit of room to play with here around the wheel well, but as far as like up top goes and inside of this little cubby hole that's cut out, it's all gonna have like a little rubber edging around it. There shouldn't be any like sharp corners or anything. And yeah, I am super stoked on how these look. I still need to map out all of the like mounting points. Being metal, I don't think they're gonna need nearly as many as like the factory wood stuff had. I am absolutely freezing. I've been standing outside in the snow for the last like hour and a half, so I'm gonna hang out for a little bit. I found it. I cannot believe that this stuff's still here. I did the 3rd gen like a year and a half ago, so big win. We're gonna explore the rest of this store because it's pretty fun. Maybe I should do this instead. What do you think? No. Pulled down some Masonite out of the rafters and then pulled one of the old panels apart, so all of the little plastic cubbies and everything out of there. Tried to save as many of the clips as I could. They're kind of falling apart. I'm gonna use this as a stencil, cut 2 of these, sandwich them together. They'll be completely symmetrical on both sides of the truck, so pretty easy. And then once I get these cut, I will repeat the process and measure out my door panels. Those ones I'll have to use cardboard and cut my own shape out. I didn't have any panels when I bought the truck. Pretty easy though. They're not a crazy shape or anything, and there's no bends in any of this stuff, so it's very straightforward. It's just flat panels. I'll probably get all of the panels cut out to the shape that I want them before I start doing any of the like fabric stuff and wrapping them. I'm gonna do my best to reuse the factory little cubby holes. The big one is just kind of storage. The small one is where your seatbelt would come out of the wall. Going to try to reuse those. I'm not exactly sure what method I'm going to use to clip them into the new piece of wood, but we'll figure it out. All right, panels are all cut out, and then I just fully deconstructed the original panel out of the truck so I can kind of cheat and steal all of the holes where it will mount into the body. So that's what I'm gonna do real quick. I'm gonna make sure everything is nice and lined up, and then just trace holes onto my new panels and get those drilled out. I lied earlier, they're not exactly symmetrical. Everything on the panel is exactly the same except for where the filler neck is on the passenger side. I realized that once I tried to throw it in the truck, so pretty easy. That took 2 minutes, cut that out. It fits nicely now. Just got back from Ace Hardware and went and picked up some 3M high strength spray adhesive and trimmed out some of this little packing carpet. I think it'll pretty much give me the same result as the thin foam would. So I'm going to spray adhesive this to the panel, and then from there I will take my fabric right here, cut this to size, and start getting this sprayed on to the panel as well. It's a bit of a process, especially with all of the holes and getting all the shapes right. We are making some progress. This is one of the door panels. The other one's up here drying. And then we started on the back panel. I still need to do another one of these, but this one's not done yet. I'm just showing you guys kind of middle of the process. So I got the carpet glued onto the front and then put the fabric over the carpet and then basically flip it over, do some trimming, and then wrap it all around and glue it around the back of the panel so it's nice and snug and it's not gonna just rip off of the panel. So we gotta finish this one up, do one more, and then all of the door panels will still not be done. I still need to come back through and trim all these holes out and do all that stuff, but I'm gonna wait until everything's nice and dry before I go and cut that stuff. That way I don't tug on the material and wrinkle anything. Got another panel and a half to do. All right, it is the next morning. I am working on getting these panels wrapped up. I spent about 5 hours yesterday making them, getting all of the materials cut and glued on, and they turned out awesome. They look so good. I cannot wait to get these things mounted up in the truck. I still need to poke all of the holes for mounting. Aside from that, I forgot that I had these speaker brackets that go into the bedsides, and I don't know which direction they are just yet, but they basically mount up behind these panels, so need to figure out where these are going to live so I can get holes cut or just do like perforated drill holes. I don't know what I'm going to do just yet. Need to get that figured out for the aluminum panels. I did do some rubber edging last night, so that gives them a nice finished look, and at least you're not going to cut yourself. These things are pretty much done. Need to start getting this stuff mounted, get these holes cut, get these all thrown in the truck, and then get all of these panels and all this stuff wrapped up so I can move on to more important things like the motor. Basically all of the fasteners that I got at Ace Hardware do not work. Just the aftermarket fasteners are just kind of the plug, and then they have the little wings on them. These old Toyota clips are not compatible with that. So for the time being, I am self-tapping driver door panels in there. I just did the driver door and you can't even see the self-tappers, so it really is not too much of a pain, but getting holes and everything drilled through the fabric and then into the body, I was just trying to avoid doing that. but it wasn't too bad. It took me 2 minutes to do this panel, so I might end up just doing that around the whole truck, and then they're held in by screws opposed to plastic clips, so at least I know they won't fall out. I do believe these doors are supposed to have an armrest, but I don't have those, so I might pull them off and do an armrest in the future. As of right now, this is how it's going to be. All right, the last thing that I'm gonna do is get these holes drilled for the speakers. So I pretty much just reached my arm down in here and kind of traced out where the speaker bracket is. So got a rough idea. I'm gonna drill some perforated holes, and if that ends up not being enough, in the future when I get speakers in here, then I'll just get a little router bit or whatever and get me a nice circle going. But for now, we're just gonna drill some holes. All right, panels are back in the truck. Got some speaker holes drilled. If these are not sufficient, I'll just go ahead and cut a circle out. At the moment, I don't even have speakers for the truck, so really not all that concerned. I am very happy with the progress I've made over the last week. Even if it doesn't seem like much, doing this interior was very tedious and honestly a really fun process. I enjoy doing this kind of work. Overall, I spent about, I don't know, $150, $200 to do the entire interior. Fabric was relatively affordable. It was like 20 to 30 bucks for everything that I needed. The wood I already had, so that doesn't count. But if I were to buy a new panel, it's like 40 bucks. The street signs were free. Got those at work. And then the carpet, all right, I lied. The carpet was like $150, but I think that was well worth it. That way I didn't have to run a 40-year-old carpet from however many other owners have been in this truck. Still relatively affordable, and honestly, the interior makes such a huge difference. This is where you're spending all of your time in the truck, so I'm very happy with it. It matches the 3rd gen now. With that being said, next week, I will be doing nothing but motor work. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I've already torn the head out. I actually got the head back from the machine shop yesterday, so that thing's ready to go back in. But unfortunately, I think I'm going to be doing cylinder work on this motor before it goes back together. So that's what you can look forward to next week. I will be doing nothing but motor stuff, getting this thing back together, and hopefully getting the truck running. Hope you guys like this video. Like I said earlier, a ton of people have reached out about how I've done this fabric stuff in the 3rd gen, so that's how I did it. This was pretty fun, pretty easy. I am very happy with how it came out. I still have some more stuff to do in the interior. I have a whole shed full of plastics that came with this truck when I bought it, and I haven't gone through any of it, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that sometime this week. The last big project in the interior is getting a center console figured out, so I'm gonna see if that's not laying in my shed, and if it's not, I'm probably going to build my own center console, which is something I've always wanted to do. So kind of look forward to that. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you next weekend.